Welcome back, everyone, to another production of Go Be Wyoming. I'm your host, Aaron Gray, and I've got my co-host, Zach Gale, with me, and we are joined with Tanya Moon, the owner of the Kula Space, or the Kula Yoga Studio here down on Main Street. Tanya, thanks for letting us, first, we're in here all by ourselves and we're like, what's going on? We had a miscommunication, but thanks for letting us come in and set up and talk to you a little bit.
Yeah, thanks for coming out. I love podcasts, so it's an honor to do my first one.
Awesome, cool. Well, we're glad that we're your first one interviewing you, and hopefully you enjoy it. And I think the first thing is, how long has Kula been here, or how long have you had the Kula Space?
Yeah. So the Kula Space was started 10 years ago in 2010 by 3 local women, one of which just ended up being the sole owner, and the other 2 kind of went their separate ways. But Michelle Fritz was the owner for years, and I met her through just coming to the studio when I moved out here, and she knew my background in management and just kind of what I knew how to do. So she asked me to be the manager. So I managed for about a year, and she was going back to school to get her master's. So I was kind of helping her, and it was, her baby. So it was really hard. She knew she was moving to the next thing in her life, but wanted to find the right person that appreciated the space and what Kula means. Which in Sanskrit, it means community of the heart. So, it's more than just a yoga studio. It's a place people can come and feel comfortable and, strengthen their muscles and their mind and their nervous system and really get a full range of support.
Sure.
And so, she finally said, hey, let's just do the transition.
Yep.
And I purchased it from her, and January 2020 was my official ownership takeover. So,
oh, nice. Okay.
So it's been an interesting time, but it has been my dream for a long time. So it's been amazing.
Cool. What's your background a little bit? You said you kind of moved out here. Give us a little background on you and, your background in yoga.
So my background in work was management for health clubs. So I was a district manager, regional manager down in Arizona where I used to live. So I ran multiple health clubs and did operations side of things. So I started there and had been taking yoga for a long time on and off, just kind of dabbling in it. And then moved out here in, 2014, we moved to Wyoming.
Okay.
And then moved to the Sheridan area in 2016.
Gotcha.
And so I had left my career that I built. I pretty much my whole 20s were that. And I enjoyed it a lot, but I wasn't really able to connect with people as much as I'd like to. I was kind of like the business lady and, worked with all men, and which was fine, but I just wanted to connect more and, I guess find a little more meaning in my job.
Right.
So I got married. We got pregnant, and then decided I think I'm going to do yoga teacher training. So, which I actually decided before I was pregnant, but then I had to just continue with that. I got my yoga teacher training done in 2013, 2014. So it was about a year program in Tempe, Arizona.
Okay.
And that was through the Southwest Institute of Healing Arts.
Okay.
And so I completed that. And then when our baby was about 6 months old, we packed up and said, we're not raising her in Arizona. We want to go to Wyoming. So my husband's always wanted to live here. So
wonderful. I
had never been here. I'm a city girl from the suburbs of Chicago. And I was like, wasn't sure about it, but I've just fallen in love more and more. I mean, he took me camping when we first moved out for 2 weeks in the Bighorns. And the first time I saw Sheridan was coming down red grade. And we both looked at each other like, oh my gosh, we're raising our kid here.
Yep.
This is it.
That's awesome.
So yeah, so it's been fun to, build our roots here and really get involved with the community. It's very important to me.
Absolutely. Zach, that's kind of funny. Tom Kelly's also a Chicago guy and talks about him seeing Sheridan the first time. That's kind of cool. That's awesome. No, that seems like a very common occurrence. We can't keep this place a secret anymore.
I know.
I don't think.
I try not to tell. My husband's like, don't tell anyone. And now my mom just turned her too.
Too late.
I'm like, oh yeah.
That's
so
awesome.
it's an amazing place, and not just the mountains and the nature, but the people here. I wasn't even sure what people would think of yoga.
Mm-hmm.
And just to be so, nicely received by everyone, and people are so open. They might not know about all the facets of yoga, but I think everyone here is just so open-minded to what works, and that's what I'm about with yoga is, the science behind it and the science behind meditation and breathing practices. And, there's just a lot more than doing handstands and things like that.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit. Zach and I are both kind of local guys. The traditional sense, I think, for both of us in the fitness world is, the strength training, the weightlifting. And then, I have a background in some personal training, but I have seen kind of the fitness community here change a little bit. There is that open-mindedness to, I want to try something new. There is benefits to yoga. Talk about that a little bit in the community here, because you obviously had the idea of being a yoga instructor, but then moved here. So kind of walk us through that. You kind of already did, but joining the community here a little bit and seeing that community here in Sheridan.
Yeah. So yoga, again, it's so... There's so many things you can do with it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my teacher would say, if you can breathe, you can do yoga. So I hear from guys a lot, oh, I can't touch my toes, I can't do yoga. Or, maybe people who are retired and just got a replaced knee or whatever it is. There's a place for you in yoga, and it's... really, whether you're trying to get a workout and come to our hot class where it's 100 degrees and you're going to sweat your butt off and get a really good workout, or, you're wanting to come to more of what we call Yin Yoga, which Yin is the Yang, the opposite. Yang practice is going to be a very heated and energetic. The yin is going to be the opposite of that, where you are, restoring your body, working on flexibility, working on relaxing. So what we try to do at Kula is have, the most experienced, trained teachers that we can get, or, that are here in town. And we really want to be able to facilitate anyone that comes into the door. So I have a wide range of classes here, like I said, from hot yoga to restorative or gentle yoga. And I want everyone to feel comfortable. Like I want it to be, again, Kula means community of the heart. So I really want to continue that going and have a place for everyone. And, there's mental health right now is a really, it's concerning because we're all experiencing it, and
Absolutely.
It's kind of hard to navigate because we all kind of feel anxious, have this anxiety, but it's not so, or maybe it is extreme for some, but for most, I think it's just like this subtle thing that's, oh my God, the world is so crazy. And yoga, the deeper part of yoga, I like to say the side effects are, a strong body, but the deeper part of yoga is the mental clarity and, the mental health that you can obtain from a consistent yoga practice. Yoga has 8 limbs, not to go into too much, but
No, this is good.
It has 8 limbs of yoga, and only one of those limbs is asana, which is the physical practice of yoga. So the poses that you're
Sure.
used to seeing. So that's one aspect. And there's lots of other limbs, one being meditation, one being pranayama, which is breath work, and then lots of others. But I guess my point is that there's a deeper benefit of yoga than just an exercise.
Right.
And that's, what I really love about this space, because it's small, it's intimate. You can, come in and be pissed off. You could cry. You could do it. It's just a place where you can just be vulnerable and just be yourself and let it out before, you have an anxiety attack, or you have, some type of, illness creep up. Stress is not good for your body and your immune system. And, especially right now, we need to be walking around with a full tank of gas. We need to have our immune system strong. And I'm really passionate about continuing to talk to people about this, because unfortunately, the news is not pushing this enough.
Yep.
I believe in masks. I believe in everything else, but the most important thing is your immune system and taking your health into your own hands.
Yep. Absolutely. And that's something, Zach, we've talked about a lot in our news segments, not to get so serious here, but we'll talk a little bit about, you kind of mentioned, and we don't need to go into like the COVID stuff, but you guys have some virtual classes now and talking about mental health. One thing that's great about yoga is you can do it anywhere, really,
right.
And that's why I think a virtual class, kind of dive into that a little. Was that something you guys started with and then took it away and then came back? So walk us through that a little bit.
Yeah. So as you guys have seen, things kind of have gone up and down in Sheridan. And so we did close the studio for a little, I think almost 2 months we were closed. And during that time, we started with free classes streaming on Facebook. And because we were like, oh, this will last a week or two. And then we switched over to Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily, it was so nice outside. We could do outdoor classes. So the Brinton Museum had, we offered a lot of classes out there, and a big thank you to them. They have just supported me for years, ever since I moved out here. We have our yoga festival out there too. And so they allowed us to do more classes while the studio was closed. And so that was great. And then once I felt comfortable opening back up, we did. And then we kind of had, some in here and then some outside. But then once the weather shifted, it was all inside. We've continued to have a Monday Zoom class this entire time at 10 a.m. So that has always been there, but we're now adding some additional Zoom classes. So the 2 new ones will be Wednesday, Fridays at 10 a.m. And they will continue to be in the studio as well, but you have the option to join us through Zoom if that's more comfortable for you. So again, I'm just trying to be creative and figure out ways that people can get their yoga in. I'm doing private lessons now, and, I'm starting to see some of the old faces that had a consistent practice here. And they're like, oh my gosh, my body hurts so bad. And, my mind is just so, so it's really, it's a very beneficial practice and just, so I'm just trying to do everything I can to make it accessible to people.
Yeah, it's very important. You have that physical side, but there's also that mental, like you said, the stress and everything. So it sounds like everybody else, you had to adapt and see what's going on. And then obviously, the change for you guys was you were doing a lot of outdoor classes. Well, not doing yoga out there in the 30-degree weather. So no, that's good. That's awesome that, Zach, I think we've said it. Business owners, I think, should run the world, because sometimes it's like they're the ones that are going to figure out stuff quickly. Zach, do you have any questions? Or
well, so you've been talking about this kind of therapeutic kind of self-care side of it, and so I want to talk a little bit more about the therapy. Do people come who maybe had some sort of accident, or they need to kind of get that muscle strength back? Do they come seek yoga for that, or do they typically? A lot
of people, we have some really great rehabilitation. Sheridan rehab is amazing, but we get a lot of people after that.
Okay.
So normally, their insurance will cover. Core Pilates is another place that's really great. And so they'll go there, kind of do the initial stuff,
Mhm.
and then we're kind of the stepping stone after. So I do see a lot of that. Our teachers are trained on that. So, if someone is looking for that and want to talk to someone, a teacher about that, then yeah, we are able to do that. But normally we're kind of the stepping stone to, getting them back into doing their regular routine or whatever it was. Yeah. Yeah.
That's a good question. What has been maybe the biggest change here in the community, in regards to like demographics, maybe trying yoga? And I guess you can say men, but because we understand,
Oh man,
yeah, young men, yeah.
I try with you guys so bad, but I've done men's classes.
Mhm.
I did a workshop before hunting season started.
Oh, sure.
My husband hunts elk, and they carrying that thing on your back or just hiking.
Mhm.
In the mountains where the elk are is so crazy on your body. So, I try, I sometimes will get an interest and then it dwindles off.
Mhm.
I have some private clients that are men.
Awesome.
I think it's moving that direction.
Yep.
And I hope to see more of it. But that hasn't changed much. The demographic really hasn't changed. I think when I just did a new heating system in our studio. So now it gets to 100 degrees for our hot classes.
Right.
So that was something I did this year. And I see more, I guess, younger people come in for that.
Sure.
And we have some new people in our offices here. So I rent out these spaces. And one is Mo Hattervick, and she's a counselor. And then the other one is Rachel, and she owns Peak Physique, which is
Sure.
They do nutrition and fitness competitions. And so both of these women are really, really amazing. And they have complemented this space in what I do really well. And the mental health of things, and then nutrition and more of weight training and things like that.
Right.
So it's been really great to have them. And they've, I've gotten some of the CrossFit girls in here, and, it's just been nice to collaborate with them. And, but I really want to encourage people, whatever you do, if you go to CrossFit, if you're a runner, yoga has a way of benefiting whatever you do.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll make you better at your job. It'll make you better as a parent. I mean, every aspect of your life, it's going to bring a deeper sense of ease into your everyday life.
Yep.
And that's, we're all trying to get that, I think.
Yeah.
Men, women, young, old, everyone. So
that's awesome. I didn't know I didn't know Mo was here and then Rachel was here. That's funny. But oh shoot, I had a question and I lost it. In regards to getting men, it's funny because it's definitely, I think, probably an ego thing, I think, for guys. But from a sports performance standpoint, it's like the flexibility, range of motion is very important.
Yeah.
And that's, I think one thing that maybe you can allude to this is education, trying to educate people on the different styles and the benefits of the different styles.
Yeah. And just to touch base with the men stuff, I think, this new generation coming up, like the hockey team just called me, and I think they're like 18 to 25.
Sure. Yeah. That club team. Yep.
Yeah. And they do yoga before their games. And I mean, for an athlete, like, the goal is to stay clear-headed when you're under extreme pressure and stress. And that is what yoga works on. So So I think it's moving in that direction.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the different types of yoga. So we have Ashtanga is actually my background, what I fell in love with. It's a very old practice. It's done normally over about 90 minutes, and it's the same poses done in the same sequence. So every time you do the same thing. So it's a very militant. Actually, a lot of men enjoy the practice because it's a very powerful practice, and you know what you're going to do. You're not doing these like flowy, motion hippie gypsy stuff. You're just doing.
Guys don't like that?
Yeah, I don't think so. Some may, but I don't think Sheridan meant. But yeah, it's a very militant practice. It's
routine. You know what's coming.
Yeah. And then you can see yourself improve. Again, when you lift weights, like, if you add another 10 pounds, that's a big deal. So the Ashtanga practice allows you to kind of see your progression. So that's one of, I teach that class. And again, it's what made me fall in love with the practice of yoga. So it's a really great practice. And then we have yoga flow classes that range from we've offered like evening flow, where it's more, slow and relaxing. Our hot yoga flow is going to be more of strength building, and pretty much my goal with that class, and I teach that Tuesday and Thursday mornings, is to have a really well-balanced class. So you start with centering, then you build up heat, sweat, then we stretch, then we meditate. And I really like wearing people out physically, because then your mind can relax. Like after a good workout or after a run, your mind's like, oh God, you're just no stress, just you feel great. So that I feel like people have an easier time when their body is exhausted.
Yeah.
To be able to drop into a meditation and really clear the mind. So we have that. We have Yin Yoga, like I mentioned earlier, where you're holding poses for up to 5 to 5 minutes. So you're using lots of props, blankets, bolsters, blocks, straps. And so you can get into these really comfortable poses and relax into them and allow the muscles to you really relax and loosen. And then we have a really awesome class. Ivy Harbor designed it. She dances. And so her background is in dance, but she's also a yoga instructor. So she created Hatha Yoga. So Hatha in Sanskrit means dance. So it's a dance yoga fusion. So it's a really fun class, really upbeat, kind of like club music, and great cardio workout. But then again, you get that meditation at the end. And, a lot of people know about the benefits of meditation because of all the scientific, studies now that have been done on it.
Right.
But it's like, when are you going to have time? It's just hard to make time for it sometimes. And so I think not everyone realizes that after every yoga class we meditate, or, at the beginning of every yoga class we meditate. So it is a part of it as well.
Right.
And then we have Hatha Yoga, which is a very basic form of yoga. So instead of flowing from one pose to the other, you're staying in a pose for a little bit longer and really working on alignment and little tiny adjustments to really kind of get deep into the pose. So yeah, Hatha. And then we have our gentle yoga class, and that's going to be kind of what it sounds like, very gentle, lots of breath work involved. And I think that's all that we're doing right now.
Sure.
But we do lots of events too. We have an event coming up for the winter solstice.
Okay.
So this Saturday, we're doing an event. It's an immersion. So it's 3 hours long, and we'll start with Yin Yoga. And then again, which is that really relaxing, and kind of the theme of it is moving from the dark back into the light. So
Okay.
longer days,
Yep.
you know, so celebrating, you know, the long or the what is it, the shortest or the longest period of night.
Okay.
Right.
Yep.
So
Yes.
so we're celebrating that by starting with yin. It'll be a candlelit yin. So very dark and relaxing. And then after that, we will take a break and set up the black lights in the room. And
Oh.
then we're going to paint, you have the option to paint your face or hands or whatever you want with the glow in the dark paint. And then we're going to do the nata class.
Okay.
So kind of coming back into the light, very energetic. And I'll be doing a smudge in between that as well with Palo Santo wood, which just kind of helps to clear out any negativity and move into the new year.
Yeah. Yes.
Ready to
Love
go.
that. Yeah. How many instructors do you have? So you mentioned IV, and maybe, you know, they don't have to be like full time, but people that come and teach here.
Yeah. So Tracy Burke is our instructor on Mondays, and she's been here for a long time. She teaches out in Jackson Hole as well. She's gone back and forth for a long time. And then we have Samantha, who is new to the studio. She just moved out here. She's actually a traveling nurse, and she was in New Mexico and just couldn't take it anymore. So it was just their numbers are really high down there, and she was working in the hospital. And after, I don't know, probably 6 months or so, she just decided that's it. I'm going back to Wyoming where her parents were. And so she's back here. And, you know, I think having a nurse it's just kind of a unique background to have as a yoga instructor. So I welcomed her right in. She's doing a training with actually an old student of mine that now owns a studio down in Laramie. So she was doing training with her with specifically for yin. So Samantha's doing the yin classes. And then we have Ivy, like I mentioned, and then Alex Clearwater is also an instructor, and she does our hot yoga classes. She is a personal trainer as well. So she's just really great at, you know, all facets of it, but a great workout. Her and Ivy went to India together and did their 500-hour training out there. So the yoga teacher certifications are kind of a lot, but all of our teachers are certified instructors through Yoga Alliance, and most of them have their 500. So they're, you know, advanced, experienced teachers, instructors. Yeah. So, and then we have Monica does a hot yoga flow. Monica Rishi. She she also works at Blacktooth. You might recognize her from there. But she's amazing. She's doing a evening hot yoga flow for us. And then Ashley Joy, she does our gentle yoga as well on Fridays, and she has been doing that for a while as well. And then we also have another brand new instructor from Jackson who moved out here from Jackson, Trish. She got married this weekend, so congratulations to her. But, congrats. Yeah, so her background is that Hatha, just very traditional alignment-based practice. And she has been working with some private students as well. She has such a wealth of knowledge just about the human body, anatomy, being able to look at someone and figure out where those little alignment adjustments need to go. She works with people that, you know, again, have had hip replacements. And so she's been a great addition to our team.
Wonderful.
So I hope I didn't miss anyone. Oh, and then Michelle Fritz, who used to own the studio. I've been begging her to come back. She took a little break from teaching because she, you know, has been doing it for 10 years. So, but she finally came back and is doing a late night class on Wednesdays at 7:30. So she's just amazing. I can't say enough about her.
If you miss someone, that's okay. That's a lot. That's a full
Sorry
team
if I
right there.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we have people that, our weekend classes are alternating instructors.
Sure.
So Asia Stockwell is another great friend of mine, and she comes in and teaches a lot for us. Tressa teaches on the weekends. Stephanie Koltiska. Anyways, I love, I mean,
Amen.
I'm so honored to just get to hang out with these
Yeah.
women.
Yeah.
So
It's a community. Yeah.
yeah, it is.
Zach, do you have anything?
Well, no, that's awesome. I mean, just through this whole thing, we've really heard. It sounds like everybody's embracing that kind of idea of what Kula means. So, like you said, community of the heart.
Yeah.
So that's really cool to see. Like it's all encompassing. It's not just a name. It's really people are buying into that idea.
Yeah. And again, Michelle has to take credit for that. That it was like that when I got here. They really created this space you can just be yourself, and you don't have to,
Yep.
put a mask on. Not like that, but
We know what you mean.
yeah. We all walk around like this is, I am a lawyer. I am a teacher, these suits that we wear. And like, I just want you to come in and just be a human.
Yeah.
Like just be you. If you're having a crappy day, come in. I guarantee you'll feel better.
Yep.
Absolutely.
I have some funny ones that we'll get to in a second. What would you recommend to a beginner? Maybe they've done one or two classes before, but haven't done it in a long time. So what's kind of like your recommendation to people maybe coming to try it out?
Yeah. So this time of year, a lot of people, make resolutions. And so we are going to be offering an intro to yoga next month. And that will be on Mondays and Wednesdays from 12 to 12:45. So we're hoping to get, lunch crowd or whatever, but it's just a short kind of intro to things. So we'll go over the different poses. We'll go over, breathing and meditation and all kind of the basics. And then some of the things that we say in class that some people might not understand.
Yep.
Just go over all the basic stuff. What do
Cool.
the question from men a lot is like, well, what do I wear? Because, we know that what women wear, but, so just checking it out and just feeling comfortable to screw up and, so we'll be offering that. As far as, our regular weekly classes, Yin Yoga and Hatha Yoga will be great for beginners. That being said, if you're athletic, like I was saying, our teachers, we have the quality of teacher that can create a class for the people in front of them.
Mhm.
So that's really big for me. This isn't, as much as I love like group classes, it's different. They have a set routine and they're going to do that routine no matter who shows up.
Right.
Here, we might have a set class, but if someone comes in that can hardly touch their toes, well, we have to modify for them. So I take a lot of pride in the fact that myself and my teachers here are able to do that. So we're able to get off of our mat, look around and see what people need, see if they're struggling physically, see if they're struggling with their breath or whatever it is. I think people can feel comfortable coming into any class, whether you've done it a lot or have never done it. We offer these intro to yoga and beginner classes, which are great, but I would recommend any class unless you are sensitive to heat. If you don't like the heat, then don't come to the high yoga class. It's probably first.
That's wonderful. Okay, kind of maybe hopefully we get some funny stories or more like inspiring stories. So you took over this year. What is there a situation or something that happened that you would have never expected to happen, in regards to like something funny or like
So not COVID.
Yeah, not COVID. No. With a client or, just something that, I don't know, that someone wouldn't expect to happen. And it could be something like encouraging, like, motivating from a client or something like that too. It doesn't have to be funny, but
Yeah, nothing really pops into my head because COVID is just all I can really, but let's see.
like nothing at the Britain, like there was no, doing all those classes out there or,
Well, I guess mostly I've just been happy that people accepted me because Michelle's been here for so long. I
Right.
took over her Tuesday morning class at 8:30 that she'd been teaching for 10 years. So these women, they love her so it was really nice just to feel like accepted.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
so that was really great. Yeah, I mean, this front space, uh, I don't know how funny this is, but the back space. So before I took over, you entered through the back door.
Okay.
So last year at this time, I remodeled the back and we took out the wall back there, and now we have this front space.
Okay.
So that was kind of a big transition, and getting this front space and kind of creating what I wanted this to look like.
Right.
And thank God we did, because we used to be smushed in that little entry area. Like it was like 4 feet by 8 feet, and
Right.
we would all be, taking our big boots off and our coats. And with COVID, I had no idea COVID was coming, but
Yep.
I just am so happy we did that, because
Right.
up here we have so much space and people can at least, hang out and chat still. So yeah, that was a kind of a nice surprise,
Yeah.
that actually worked out well. But yeah, I the other thing that I did too was started a retail store.
Okay.
So, especially I've always had some Manduka stuff, which is yoga mats and things like that.
Right.
But once COVID hit, I again was trying to be creative and thought, okay, retail, especially with the times like this. So retail gets busy
Mm-hmm.
when yoga slows down. And
Right.
then when yoga gets busy, retail slows down. So I thought, oh, well, maybe I'll, and I live in yoga clothes. So
Right.
I thought, well, I guess I'll try my hand at retail. And it was nerve wracking because it's an investment, and I just didn't know how people would receive it. And so I just decided that's it. I'm doing it. I love these 2 lines that we have. Free People is one and Aloe Yoga is another. And
Mm-hmm.
Obviously being from, the city and then living in Arizona, there's the shopping here is not what it is, which actually I love, but I wanted to bring in some lines that,
Yep.
people really like, really high quality stuff that we don't have to drive 6 hours to Nordstrom's
Right.
to purchase.
Absolutely.
So
No, that's good. No, that was actually perfect of what I was kind of asking. I think people can look back at this year, and obviously there's COVID, but like you said, like you wanted to change this front space and the back space, and that was without even thinking about, you're going to have health recommendations about how many people can be next to each other and all that stuff. And so it worked out, and it's like, oh wow, look at that. And then, like the retail, like, I don't think COVID probably had that much impact. It was kind of more of, like you said, yoga slows down a little bit. And so you got to think of something else to do.
right. Yeah. I mean, if I had to close my studio again, I at least could try to deliver things to people.
Still sell stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was just trying to make sure, we didn't, I didn't end up taking any grants or anything just because
Yep.
we were fine. And
That's awesome.
so I had to figure out a way though to be okay, and I wasn't going to take over the studio after 10 years of being open and then let it fall.
That's awesome.
So
that's great to hear about that.
yeah.
Well, Zach, do you have anything else to add?
I don't have any other questions.
Cool.
Okay.
So you had a lot written down, so I want to make sure you have your opportunity to, you mentioned your, is it a solstice? Is that what it is? Okay. And that's coming up this Saturday.
Yes.
Is there anything else that you'd like to mention before kind of the end of the year? I mean, you kind of mentioned the beginning of the year, the beginners classes, Monday, Wednesday at 12.
We'll start that next month. So I guess I'll kind of explain before I got into Kula, the first year I moved out here in 2017, I started the Sheridan Yoga Festival.
Oh, okay.
So I was new and knew I wanted to get my name out there and knew I wanted to create an event around yoga. And so I started that and we have continued that. This year I changed it to the Kula Festival because I took over here. So the last 2 years have been out at the Britain, and we luckily were able to do it this year. It was an outdoor event, and so I was so thankful for that. But 2021, I hope to, bring back all of our regular events. We do a yoga retreat. Normally we do it out at Eaton's Ranch. Unfortunately, that won't happen this year or in 2021. But I hope to have another retreat up at Spiro. So, so it'll be a weekend retreat. You come up, spend the night, you can camp, you can get a cabin. So that will be in the works soon. And then again, we'll have our yoga festival in the summer. And I really, really have grown to love events because it creates an experience for people that they remember forever.
Right.
So I really have loved doing that. We added a 5K run this year. And so I'm excited to, do that again and offer classes out at the Britain again. We'll do that. And, really whatever the town wants to see. Maybe we'll do another ceramics and yoga.
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely.
But I love collaborating with people and being on Main Street is just a dream.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's so many great, everyone you talk to is just like me. They have the same, dreams and just love it here. And I just love being able to serve this community. It's been great to me and I want to give back to everyone. So
that's wonderful. Well, that'll be exciting. That's, doing an event at Spiro. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, we did a day event because I got freaked out and okay, we're just going to do a day.
Sure.
But it was awesome. We hiked around park and we were going to do paddleboard yoga, but it's always windy up there. So
yeah, that's a little tough up there.
Too dangerous. Yeah, I tried to do it a bunch too at Lake DeSmet.
Yeah.
I don't know when, my luck with the wind will change, but one day we'll have, stuff like that. But yeah, it's a great, Spiro is a really cool place. I mean, we did yoga in the lodge with a fireplace that you could drive a vehicle through. I mean, it was just huge and into the history and, to be able to do a sacred practice like yoga, and be around all this historical stuff is really cool.
That's awesome. That's wonderful. Yeah. Last little thing, where can people find you? Where can people find Kula?
So we're on Facebook. We have a Facebook page. We have an Instagram page. And then our website is thekulaspace.com. And then I always encourage people to call me. Just text me or call me, whatever you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
Like if you're interested in something or you're not sure about something, call me. I'm a mom and I do this. So, this is, and a wife as of course, but you can always call me and, this is my passion. So, if you're interested in doing it, give me a call. Come to the studio, especially right now, our classes the numbers aren't what they were before. So don't worry too much about like signing up before or anything like that. If you just show up a few minutes before class, we can get you all set.
Wonderful. Well, Tanya, thank you for letting us come in. And I look forward to maybe we'll do a test maybe yoga. I don't know, Zach. But remember Saturday is the Solstice 3-hour class over Zoom. And check them out at thekulaspace.com. Thanks for listening.